Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get into the video, because I know you're here for Soft Machine with Hazard Profile, quick disclaimer, as you can see here on the screenshot below, Hazard Profile is blocked, and then I recorded the second side of Bundles, and that was blocked as well. And it's really annoying because these are two sides of the album that I took pretty much as wholes. I pretty much listened to them pretty much as wholes, and I had to edit all of that. So click on the link in Patreon right in the description below. It takes you to the full version, just like anything else. Go there, watch the full version, because the version here on YouTube is going to be severely edited. Also, originally I was going to record Hazard Profile and the second side of the album separately, and I did, but I recorded them on the same day. So you're going to hear me talk about, like, just talking about Hazard Profile in one half of the video, and then you're gonna hear me talking about Bundles on the other half of the video. But here in post editing, we're putting all of it together. But once again, watch the full unedited reaction over on Patreon. All right. Man, I cannot thank you enough for joining me on this beautiful day, on this wonderful occasion that it is to just have another day. Is there a special name to this day or anything? No. But it's special because you're here, I'm here, we're here, and we're going to listen to some Soft Machine. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope that you're doing well out there on your corner of our beautiful planet. Today we're going to listen to Hazard Profile. We're going to listen to the whole thing. It's made up of 5 parts, but we're going to just take it the whole way through. Take it all at once. And technically, we're going to really listen to the first side of the whole album, which is Bundles, released 1975, which also includes the final track on this side, Gone Sailing. But we're really here for the Hazard Profile, as that has been what you guys have recommended to me. It's nice to return to Soft Machine here. Let's see, we've listened, of course, to third on the channel. I've heard fourth on my own personally, but this has been recommended to me by quite a few people. Of those, Sicko, the EW, thank you so much. Micah, Fissahat, I'm not reading that right at all. Micah, let's just say Micah, or Mika, perhaps as well. Bruce Fortman, Letty Gee, love the little reversal there. Tanis, Zalmoxis, David Oliveris, you've mentioned it as well, in agreement with some others. Gingivitis, don't get that, but that is your name. And then JDCN5, and Mick Capewell, and Mark BRMB. I got all of you, at least all of you that mentioned Hazard Profile. So once again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for stopping by. Hope that you enjoy the music. Hope you enjoy listening to it alongside with me. Let's don the headphones and let's go ahead and let it run. We'll talk about it after. More than likely, I'm just going to let the whole thing play through. I'm not going to stop it in between parts. I'm just going to take this all as one whole song, but there will be some commentating during. So let's go ahead and give it a listen. Oh, and by the way, why am I wearing like a nice shirt? I'm wearing this nice shirt because I just got back from going out shopping with my mom. Like, listen, you know when you're a kid, you hate shopping with your parents, you hate going out to the store, or maybe you didn't, but you hate going out to the store with them. When you're an adult, listen, I'm trying to spend as much time with my mom as I can, so we went clothes shopping, and she bought this for me. All I said was that I liked it, and she was like, come on, I'll get it for you. And I was like, all right, Mom. Listen. So let's go ahead and listen to this song. We'll talk about it afterwards. Let's dive on in. It's just continuing blooms and blossoms like a football. What an elegant duet here. Oh! Marshall coming in back with the funk here. Now that is squirmy. And we're about to move into Gone Sailing for a minute or so. What a fun first side of the album. I mean, obviously Hazard Profile is the mainstay, that is the main course that you're here for, and exceptionally well done. But even Gone Sailing just has a little bit of a last puff of smoke before you move into side 2 is a very nice little soliloquy. I would say a little guitar soliloquy from Mr. Holdsworth. Sounds wonderful. Okay, let's talk about these Hazard Profile parts though. Oh, everyone from top to bottom, from left to right, everyone on here is fiery. Okay, like extremely on point. I mean, everyone is just really at the top of their game. I was really impressed by Marshall's drumming throughout. I would say primarily the first and last parts, 1 and 5. The beats and the groove, it was just insane. The diversity and just the aggression that he's putting down to the drums while still maintaining a very jazzy momentum throughout, a very fusion momentum throughout. It's just incredible. In part one, specifically on the back half of it, I was really noticing how you could very clearly, more so than usual in like with other music and bands and stuff like that, but you could really hear his hi-hats. And I don't mean like with his hands, I mean like him just stepping on the hi-hat. As you know, especially in jazz, but of course you mean the music, but especially in jazz, using the foot more to create that rhythm, and then you kind of have both your hands free to do other things. You could clearly hear that in here because Marshall is an octopus times 8. His arms are everywhere, and you could hear that he's really, in a sense, shredding on the drums just as much as, for example, Holdsworth was in part 1 there, which he gets down and he shreds a lot. Holdsworth, his guitar playing is duh, right? Duh. But especially in part 1, I like the diversity we have in, first of all, that entrance riff that begins everything. It's just a kind of heavy, very rock-ish riff that begins everything, but then there's those jazzy undertones, especially from Ratledge, that kind of brings things together really nicely. But then you have Holdsworth solo later on in part 1, and he's just, I can't see because I'm not a guitarist, but the and everyone just as much on fire alongside with him. They are all pieces of meat on a hibachi grill, and they're just, you know? And then every once in a while, Marshall might add a drum fill into a transition. That's putting the bacon back on the pan. And throughout especially part 1, you had a lot of moments where the band would kind of bring the moment to a head, and then it would open up with a beautiful kind of, I say a blossoming kind of melody. It's just these little explosions to me of light. And I would say primarily you're going to have Ratledge, of course, who's handling a lot of the organ synthesizers, and Jenkins, who's handling piano in there as well, and eventually saxophone and oboe. You have them, I would say, primarily to help bring about those open, beautiful moments. And then Roy Babington on the bass. His bass playing. Like I said, everyone is kind of shredding in their own way, bringing a different kind of feeling to the music here. But I really enjoyed Roy's playing because not only is he obviously playing bass, so he has that rhythmic and melodic feel into the music, but there's a lot of moments where he kind of brings his own character into it, and you can clearly hear him tearing it up. And then moving into part 2, I like how he actually calmed things down. We allowed Carl Jenkins on the piano, I'm assuming it's him, to take over and have this beautifully romantic kind of to ourselves introspective led moment, and then Alan comes in with the guitar, and it just really makes this moment so much more beautiful. Right? It's a perfect rest. Part 2 is after the aggressive, chaotic fusiony part 1, and then parts 3 and 4 begin to slowly get that momentum back rolling. That's when the stone begins rolling back, and you're like, okay, I know we're heading back into that, you know, probably something fusiony, aggressive, whatever it's going to be. We're heading back there. But I like how they kind of steamroll us there. It's not just smack us in the face, smack us in the face, smack us in your face, we're back. It's like, gentle. And then the big slap comes in part 5. And in part 5, Ratledge is really the one who gets to go off. Alan starts off again with a nice riff that carries through for a little bit. But then Ratledge comes in, and he's going to come in with those squirmy sounds that, to me, sound like high-pitched vocals. I'm sure that's him playing the EMS Synthi AKS synthesizer in there. Really enjoyed the sound. It's a very unique sound within the specified land that they built there to play. But I really like that sound and how it worked in there. That was just really gorgeous. And then, of course, ending it all with Gone Sailing. Just a nice, once again, quiet guitar-led piece just to turn the lights down, so to speak. I mean, this was really, really fun to listen to. I did notice that there were no lyrics in here at all, and I don't see anyone singing. And I know that, I mean, from what I've heard, Soft Machine is pretty much instrumental, so I didn't really expect any, but I had a lyric page just up in case something was going to pop up. Anyways, that was fantastic. That was a great listen. Hope that you guys enjoyed listening to side 1 / Hazard Profiles / everything Gone Sailing with. I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to it alongside of me. And at some point in the future, we'll go ahead and hit part 2 as well. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, press that like button. It helps me out a great deal before you leave, before you press that red X at the top right of your screen. You can also subscribe if you haven't already. You can support the channel and what I do on Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You don't have to, but it does help. And otherwise, thank you guys for the suggestion. Thank you so much for the recommendation. And we'll go ahead and move on to side 2 sometime soon. Have a great day, guys. I will talk to you later. No, it was gonna be soon, but you didn't know how soon it was gonna be. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope that you're having a wonderful day out there. It's the same day for myself as listening to part 1. I'm just moving on, listening to side 2. Why didn't I put this in just one video, full album listen? I don't know. I just didn't. There's no reason to. I don't know. I didn't really think about it. We're moving on to the second side, Soft Machine Bundles. We are listening to the title track, Land of the Bag Snake, The Man Who Waved at Trains, Pef, 4 Gongs, 2 Drums, and finally, The Floating World. So we got 6 tracks here to dive into, 6 tracks to num 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 num, just eat up, just like we had 6 tracks on the other side. Hazard Profile, great. Gone Sailing, wonderful sail off, waving us goodbye on the boat. And at some point, I guess, we'll be waving goodbye on a train. But anyways, you're not here to listen to me ramble. Well, I guess partially you kind of are, but not at least in the beginning. So let's go ahead and dive on into the music, continuing on where we left off. Will I stop every track after? I might. I don't know. I'm just kind of listening. We'll just kind of go from there. So let's go ahead and move on into the first track here on the side 2, which is going to be the title track, Bundles. Here we go. They cut out a beat right there. They stopped it like just. Woo! It's like the bass is growling melodically, and Alan's just kind of like, I don't know, he's just asleep with it. The switch into jazz, just so smooth. Just run into the next track. I have no reason to stop it. Fantastic first 2 tracks. Just equally as impressive as Hazard Profile. Oh, this is it. This is me. Ooh, they really dived into it on that one. Okay, I just wanted to hear the transition. I wanted to stop it really quick, okay? I just want to dive into the first few tracks here that we listened to, the first 3. Oh, okay. So the title track is just fusion at 200%. It is fusion beyond fusion. It is so fusion that Dragon Ball Z fans would be so happy listening to this. I mean, it's really crazy. It was so hard to keep track of, and it's only like 3 minutes long, but it's just changes upon changes and never superfluous. The changes mean something. They're going somewhere. The transitions have purpose. You just have to let it take you there. The playing, once again, is incredible, especially Alan Holdsworth. But I have to talk back to Marshall. Because Marshall wasn't playing on third. This is the first time, as far as I know, I've heard John Marshall on the drums. Let's open up his Wikipedia page, because I'm genuinely just extremely impressed listening to him and his drumming. I mean, it's wonderful. The swing that his drumming gets into, I can't remember where it was, but in one of the first 2 tracks, there was a certain swing, and I mean, it was just incredible how he moved into it. It has such speed and precision and aggression. Reading his Wikipedia page, he's worked with, just to throw out some names, Keith Tippett, Jack Bruce, John McLaughlin. I'm looking for names that I recognize. Eberhard Weber. Oh, he worked on Colors. Okay. He's worked with Nucleus, another band. He has a long list of people that he's worked with. Like I said, not so many names that I'm familiar with, but I'm sure that you guys are more familiar than I am. But he's worked with a lot of people. Point is, just incredible drumming that I'm looking forward to hearing his drumming. Like, yes, obviously everyone else is thoroughly impressive to the max, but I just can't help but listen to his drumming and what he's doing. I mean, it's thoroughly incredible. So this album, because I was looking it up really quick while listening, this album comes 5 years after Third. So 5 years after I've last listened to them, in a sense, with Third. Now we're getting here, and I like the little bit of progression you can hear here. I love Alan's playing and how it contributes in this album. It's so fire. Like I said, it's a steak on the grill. It's just sizzling it up with everyone else. Ratledge is such a what's the word? A I keep stuttering. He's such a joy to listen to. That's what I mean. That's the word I want to use. He's such a joy to listen to, whether it's the organ and the way that he brings in that atmosphere, continually fading it in for those big moments, or putting down those very jazzy keys, which I love, especially as we move into the Waving at Trains track. That kind of acts, I guess you could argue, like part 2 or 3 of Hazard Profile, in which it's that softening up. It's that moment to like kind of take a break. I love how smooth the keys are in there. Before, as we heard the transition as it's moving into Pef, you heard how that aggression was coming right back. They gave you a little bit of a break. They gave you some ice cream. Now it's time to walk back into the sun. So let's go ahead and do that. Going to listen to Pef, 4 gongs, 2 drums, and then the Floating World. Let's go ahead and dive in. Maybe I'll stop it. Maybe I won't. I'm just kind of letting it go. Listen to how fast tempo that drumming is. I like how Alan's guitar came above, swinging with that oboe. And that oboe screaming. That groove is just wrapping itself around my mind and just constricting me. It's suffocating, but like in this crazy way. I guess literally. Okay, we'll talk about Floating World in a moment. I want to stop it after these 2 tracks. So first of all, I really enjoyed hearing Carl's oboe in Pef. I think that was sensational. I like how it brought in this smooth kind of groove with it. But then you could hear him, from what I can tell, it sounds like he's really pushing air through that oboe, so you could hear it almost like crying or screaming, like there's a more aggressive, rougher tone that he gets out of it. I'm assuming that's what he's doing there. But I really like the balance between him and Alan, especially when when Alan comes in at a certain moment, he kind of takes over the oboe's melody, but the oboe doesn't stop. So they have this kind of like, oboe is kind of coming in, flying around, doing its thing, and Alan comes in underneath, and they kind of like, I don't know, I see them kind of flying together. like an air show. That's what I kind of see. 2 fighter jets flying together, now in unison, putting on a great performance for us down on the ground below. And then 4 gongs, 2 drums. So that's something, this little percussion solo track, I feel is something that would go over a little bit better in a live setting, in a live performance, because it for what it was, I like drum solos and stuff, but it was a little bit like flat. I think it was interesting some of the sounds that he got out of the drums. The skins sounded very loose because you could hear the wah-wah, like that wobble, pitch bending kind of sound you would get on those skins. And then, if I'm being straight up honest, some of those cymbal sounds from the gong sounded a little bit annoying. Like they actually just, I didn't like that sound, like the timbre of it. But otherwise, I wish it was a little bit shorter and maybe a little bit more interesting, but it's not. It's nowhere near enough to hamper anything about this album so far. So, with that being said, let us go ahead, close our eyes, float our minds away into that astral plane as we move into the Floating World. Let's dive on in. I like how this track is really taking its time and really allowing us to just travel, just to float. These melodic keys bubbling underneath. So Soft Machine's album Bundles is not one to end in a bang, but it really is one to end in a whisper. So Floating World is so hypnotic, it's so calm, and I do like the effect of it coming after all those blistering pieces, coming after all those, more aggressive fusion-like pieces. I like how this is like, okay, this is a true cool down after the workout. And I'm assuming that it's really going to be Ratledge and Jenkins who are really handling, of course, the piano and those little sounds. And I like how melodic it is and how soft it is. It just kind of bubbles up. And then you're going to have Ray Worley on the flute and the alto flute and the bass flute on this particular track. And like I mentioned he really just kind of glides along and carries and transports us to wherever we're going. So Ray Worley, let me pull up his information here. He's played with artists such as, picking up some names, Nick Drake, Mike Oldfield, Charlie Watts, uh, Dick Morrissey, Scott Walker also. Oh, his first album was produced by Scott Walker. I was like, he's played Scott Walker? Like, interesting. Yeah, so that seems to be like most of the people he's played with, many, many others. But I really liked how pastoral this track was. There's not a lot going on. This is definitely a far cry from the previous tracks, which are changing. They're very dynamic. Their tempos are going off the charts. This one is really, as it's entitled, The Floating World. Just it's a melody that kind of sinks into your brain, just kind of flies you away. But like I said, I think that this was a really nice way to end this album too, instead of ending it with a big bang or a big explosion, which we've had many fireworks throughout, just to kind of give us this nice, soft, relaxing exit out of the album. I am curious why the album's name is Bundles. The album artwork is this gentleman setting a bird free. Is this representative of like the band Label setting the band free, and this was like one of their albums that they could kind of do what they want with? I don't know. I have no idea what the meaning is behind the name or the album cover, and I don't see anything here that really hints at anything specifically. My favorite tracks on the album. So I'd say my favorite tracks are, for the Hazard Profile, if I'm specifying and I'm being specific, I'm going to say parts 2 through 4. I'm a sucker for Fusion when it's in that smoother, calm, let the subtleties ring out, kind of forms. And I'm a sucker for that sound. So I would definitely say parts 2 through 4 are my favorite. And then on the second side of the album, I really like The Man Who Waved at Trains and then Peth, especially because of that oboe and Peth. And then once again, that smooth sound that just kind of lulls me personally into it over on Trains. I really like that, and I really enjoy, obviously, everyone's work on here. But I have to say, once again, Marshall, incredible drumming. Like really, really, absolutely incredible drumming. Very impressed listening to it. Guys, that is the album Soft Machine by Bundles. I hope that you enjoyed listening to it. Hope that you had a great time sitting with me, standing with me, laying with me even in some circles. Well, maybe not laying with me, but you know what I mean. Please, before you go, press that like button or subscribe button. If it still needs to be clicked, you need to go ahead and click it. You can follow me over on Patreon and support me over there as well. You don't have to, but it definitely helps a lot in what I do here on the channel. And otherwise, please enjoy the rest of your day. Come on back tomorrow for whatever I have in store, because I don't even know. But we will find out together tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. Be safe, and I'll see you all later. Bye.